Mira Business FM. The sound of success.
This is Mira Business FM. We are online on social media. You can contact us, info@mira.fm or whatsapp.mira.fm. Should bring up the box and allow you to get in contact with us in the studio. Now, money on the morning drive now. According to recent data, the UAE recorded, get this, 141.3 billion dirhams in outward personal remittances. This is 2023, so I'm guessing this year we're going to get a bigger figure. It is the second largest remittance sending country in the world after the United States, an average of more than 11 billion dirhams sent out every month by expatriates supporting loved ones back home. Now, every December, we see a surge in money being sent from the UAE to homes across Asia, Africa, the Middle East, and further afield as well, for good reason. Christmas, New Year, the festive period, holidays bringing families together, even when borders separate them. Now, this remittance flow lifts household budgets abroad, impacts spending patterns, currency markets, and even retail activity here at home in the UAE. The question we're asking, or a number of questions this morning, how does this surge affect the economy? What does it mean for UAE expats? And how can families make smarter financial decisions during the festive season? Jay Tolentino is a financial coach. He's an expert. He gets how the numbers work, how it all fits together. He sees the trends and the strategies, and he's here. Jay, good to meet you.
Hey, good morning, man. Appreciate to be here.
It's good to have you here. Now, the figures I just quoted there, Jay, they are huge. 11 billion dirhams sent every single month by expats, 141.3 billion outward personal remittances 2023. I could go on. There are other figures, but they would just too many zeros to talk about. But it's I don't know. Where do I start? It's staggering.
It is, man.
It's huge. And every holiday season, this just gets stronger.
True. Yeah, it's always the trend whenever it's holidays. And I've even read a study like whenever it's Ramadan, like 59% of Muslims send money back home. And for Filipinos, like me, Christmas starts during September.
Yeah, I was going to say, it's around about summertime, isn't it, for people from the Philippines?
Yes. It is. And in our country, it is the remittances from Filipinos working overseas contributes 8.6% of our GDP. And the global average is around 5%.
Yeah.
Although there are some countries that are beyond that because of some needs by other citizens, but on average, it is 5%. And it is a common trend during the holidays because it is a cultural thing.
Yeah.
And when I studied money and did coaching for quite some time now, I realized that money isn't really about numbers. It's really about human behavior, the way we spend. And it is tied to our culture, how society expects of us to spend. And a lot of people are really pressured to spend more during the holidays than other season of the year.
Well, I mean, traditionally, it's a time for gifts, obviously.
Yes.
And in theory, the festive period, the Christmas period, for example, is about thinking about other people. From a retail perspective, it's obviously a really busy time because of that. And I suppose it's kind of a time that people save a little bit more money for, and therefore they're going to spend that little bit more. That's kind of how it works. It's kind of how it breaks down, isn't it?
Well, ideally, but based on my experience of coaching, some people overspend during the holidays.
Oh, there's a surprise.
They tend to have a budget per se, but whenever that season comes, they always go on over budget because deals are happening, and especially the Black Friday that just happened last week. And then Cyber Monday happened, just
it was
a few days ago.
Cyber Monday was a couple of days ago. Then there was Black Friday and White Friday. There's Yellow Friday. I'm not sure what colour it's all supposed to be honest with you. But you're right. And the deals, they're pretty enticing.
It's actually, I spend most of my money during the season, Black Friday, because I know that the deals are going to be good during that time.
So you bought all your festive gifts already?
Yeah, and especially because I also run I run content on social media, so I upgrade my gears during the season because the deals are really nice.
Oh, okay.
And I buy quality items at a lower price. So
Right.
Amazon was my friend during those.
Other online platforms are available.
Yes, true.
Let's talk a little bit about remittances, in particular at this time of year. So people maybe have saved, or maybe they overspend, but they're certainly going to be sending some money home. I mean, gone are the days of queuing for a demand draft. I don't know if you're old enough to remember.
I'm not familiar about demand draft.
You would literally go in and you would make a check payable to somebody
Okay.
in whatever currency it was,
Okay.
and you would pay your money, and the nice cashier man would hand it back to you. Sometimes they would post it for you. That was pretty rare, and you'd then go to the post office and post a demand draft. I think that's an old thing that I remember from 20 years ago. Those days just don't happen. But I'll tell you a story about that. I've just remembered this actually. I used to work for a publishing company, and we paid somebody who was selling advertising for us in London.
Okay.
And I went and got the demand draft, and then we sent the demand draft by courier
Okay. Wow.
to make sure that the check got there. However, the check didn't get there. So our salesperson was emailing and saying, look, the demand draft hasn't arrived. So I checked. The plane, I kid you not, and it was a tragic event, the plane had crashed. And it was part of that. So I then had to go back to our person and say, look, I'm not putting you off here. We have sent the money. I have to go and get another demand draft, but the plane crashed and your demand draft has gone. And of course, I don't believe you. You've not paid me. You don't want me to work for you. I won't be working for you ever again. All of this stuff. But that was genuinely the case. But that's how remittances, in some ways, used to happen. It's not like that now.
Okay. I've never. I couldn't imagine living in that time, man.
No, I know. Well, this was probably 20 years ago. But I was going to ask you around that new trends, or how do people remit money now? What's popular? And I guess it's popular for people of different nationalities, different ages, etc.
Yeah, in most cases nowadays, most people send money through remittance apps.
Sure.
So different nationalities have their own preferences.
Yep.
Can I mention those things here? Or?
I mean, tell me. I mean, how do you send money? What's your thing?
Yeah, I send money using an app called TapTapSend. Because it's more popular in our community. And not only that, because it's really easy, it's convenient, and it's secure. Like if I send money, like say 1,000 dirhams, my family members would be able to receive it in the next 15 or maybe 10 minutes. Right. It's like literally handing the money over to them because of how quick it is. I'm just using it on my phone because when I came to Dubai 10 years ago, I used to send money back home using an exchange house. So I had to go out and then fall in line. And then maybe that's a similar thing with a demand draft, but much, much faster.
Well, at least it was digital, so it was quicker. Yeah. So that would be through, you would hand up cash and it would be sent digitally.
Yes.
Right,
and the thing there is that when you use exchange houses, the banks in the Philippines still charge maybe 10 or 20 dirhams more to receive the money.
Right.
But nowadays, with the invention of mobile phones or mobile wallets, we can directly send the money from my phone to my recipient's phone in the Philippines.
Okay.
So
okay.
That's how easy it is. They don't need to go out as well and maybe go to the bank or another receiving exchange house in the Philippines. That might take them maybe 1 or 2 more hours to travel. And those days are gone now because of technology.
I mean, this is the difference, isn't it, now? I send money I just do it through my banking app, local banking app, and there is a system there, and it's usually there within 5-10 minutes. If I'm sending money to my son who's at university or whatever I'm going to do. But it's very, very quick now. It's very easy to do. I think actually my app is still free to send money.
Yeah, there are some, they have some, let's say, bracket of amounts. And
Right.
I think for some banks, they do give free transfers. The only thing is, some cases, if it's free, they usually charge on the spread.
Well, I get that it's not going to be free, and I get that there's the foreign exchange, the transfer, the spread there, as you say. So that's where perhaps I'm not getting exactly the best exchange rate.
Yeah, if the amount you're sending is at least 5,000 and above, it might be wiser to go to the bank and make the transfer because they can give you better deals on the spread. Because the apps that I'm sending, that I was telling you, is usually good for remittances below 5,000 because the spreads there isn't that much.
Okay, and so you're not losing very much money on the
Yes.
foreign exchange
On foreign exchange, yes. True.
transaction. Okay. I was going to ask you what's available these days aside from that, because obviously you've got international bank account to account transfer, you've got the exchange houses, what kinds of products exchange houses. I'm pretty ignorant on that. I haven't used an exchange house for
me too.
seems like ages, to be honest with you. Is Western Union still a thing?
It's still a thing for some, but I haven't used Western Union for several years now. Even Al Ansari, I used to go to Al Ansari every end of the month.
Yeah.
But nowadays, since the invention of remittance apps, since I think I first used a remittance app or using digital remittances through Emirates and BD when they had this, I think it was Easy Remit, or I forgot the name of their product, but it was really convenient. Like what you were saying, you're using through your bank. That was my approach back then. But nowadays, because of the upgraded remittance apps, it's really faster, secure, and it's much easier for my family to receive money.
Yeah, and obviously a lot easier for you as well.
True, yeah.
Yeah, you could,
You know the challenge with that
go on.
is that since it's so easy to send money,
Yeah.
family back home makes it easy to spend money as well. Everything is digital, right? Payments are digital, so it's much easier to spend.
Well, it's interesting. We were having this conversation the other day on this program. One of the things about debit cards, which are a fantastic invention, you can just tap and go. It's really quick. You generally don't have to use a PIN. The one downside really is that it's not as though you feel that you're spending cash.
Yes.
It's very easy to lose track. It's very difficult to keep on top of things. And I guess that's the same. Whoever's
It's the
using
same thing. Studies show that if you spend physical cash versus digital payments or card, you'd definitely spend more using your debit card or credit card. Why? Because you don't feel the pain of losing physical money.
Yeah.
Because if you see because I did this before, I have this envelope system that I was using when I was new to the UAE, and I really have to budget my 3,000 dirham salary back then down to the last digit.
Sure.
So I can still pay my debts and send money back home. Yeah. So what I did is whenever I get my salary, I withdraw all of my money and then have maybe 5 or 7 envelopes. And from there, okay, this is for rent, this is for debt, this is for my little savings, and this is for remittances. Right. Now, this is for my groceries and food. Now, when I see that envelope is getting thin, okay, my brain starts to panic. Saying that, hey, you don't have enough money anymore. And I don't want to use my other envelopes for my spending. So what I do is I go to West Zone or any supermarket and I buy the cheapest hot dog there and try to eat it for the next 5 days. That was my thing. But that approach helped me save money, even with a little income.
But that's smart budgeting.
Yeah, that is how I learned how to be more practical with money.
Where did you learn that, Jay?
I learned it.
Was it taught? Was it just?
Well, it was out of, they say, what do you call this? Necessity is the mother of all invention, right? So I really thought of maybe doing it that way. And then later on, I tried to be more curious about money and then started checking on YouTube. Hey, there is this thing that they call the envelope system, and it worked for me. But nowadays, since there's this invention of automations, so investments and savings are now automated before I even get to spend it. Yeah, so that is much easier nowadays. And I don't, the challenge with me back then is I was sharing my room with like 20 to 25 people. So there's a risk of me losing my money, right?
Yeah, for sure.
That is a common thing for some of the expats that I've met with.
But you're right, though, when you say it's a great way to learn, not particularly the system. It's that you have to do it. That's the key. That's the pressure on you.
Yes.
It's that kind of the idea of, pay yourself first. You
True.
get everything done and you get everything out of the way. And what you have left is what you can spend. And you should spend that if that's what you want to do.
And you become creative the moment that you realize that you don't have enough money anymore. And the thing that I also realize is the importance of understanding opportunity cost. Like, if I buy this bottle of water now,
right,
I might not be able to buy, let's say, a gadget that I've been saving for example.
Yeah.
Or anything that is important to you.
Sure.
And that is a common challenge nowadays. Now that it's the holiday season, people tend to overspend and usually spend on things they think they need now in exchange of the things that they truly need in the future. And this is why understanding opportunity cost is such an important mindset when it comes to building wealth and saving more money.
It is, but it's also I don't think there's anything wrong with credit cards, by the way. And I'm not having a go at credit cards, but it is easy to fall prey to credit cards because it's I could get it now and I'll pay it back, but it is an expensive way to pay for something.
True.
If you don't,
pay it back on time. And not only that, for those who don't have any credit card, they usually go for the buy now pay later schemes, BNPLs.
Yeah, okay.
I don't subscribe to those I don't have a credit card as well, and I only pay cash. I'd rather save now and then pay later. That is my approach.
Right, okay.
Than buy now pay. Because in most cases, there's also this study during the pandemic that during the boom of BNPLs, there's a huge surge of people who spent on things that they never really needed. And all the things that they just were, what's this term? It just was there lying in their room unused, and they tend to regret the splurges that they made.
No, I know exactly what you mean. No, I can imagine what you mean. I just wanted to say we're talking with Jay Tolentino about ostensibly about remittances, but also about ways to save, ways to get the best deal this morning here at Mira Business FM. If you want to ask Jay a question, very simple, info@mira.fm, or you can WhatsApp us. That's whatsapp.mira.fm. A couple of questions I think have come in for you, Jay. Just let me check here. Okay, this is Anon, but I've got a feeling this is somebody from the Philippines. For maximum pesos was the giveaway. What's the best way to send money from the UAE to the Philippines during the holiday surge? Should I stick to my bank's quick remit, use an exchange house, or try apps for better rates and lower fees? What do you think?
Yeah, it depends on whatever is most useful to you. For me, it's the app that I told you earlier. It's Tap Send.
Tap Send.
It's much easier.
Yep.
But if the quick remit works better for you, then by all means use it, because I was also a customer of that bank for the quick remit service.
Okay. What about exchange houses do you get better rates? Could you get lower fees?
There are some, what's this? It's Alpha done. Because there is, I still send money using exchange house for one of my investments in the Philippines. Because they couldn't, what my wife and I are using is Alpha done, because the rates are, when we checked it, it's much competitive.
Okay, but that's only for one particular
investment. That's one particular, but definitely you can still, whenever I send money, if I need to use an exchange house, we'd go for Alpha done.
Okay, all right. Just shop around, really, isn't it?
Yeah.
Just have a look around.
You can easily check it online. Like you can even chat GPT that thing, right?
you can chat GPT your remittance if you want to. That's the ultimate inconvenience. Jean is asking, with so many people sending money, there are always warnings about scams, and this comes up a lot. So Jean's asking, how do you spot scams?
Scams in terms of remittances?
I guess, because people are sending money. There are always there are just so many warnings.
Yeah.
It's you get that email and it's you have to do this right now, and I always think no, I'm just going to delete that.
Sure.
But I tend to sort of check and think maybe there's something.
There was a time in my career as a coach wherein most people approach me because of investment scams, and I stopped doing those things. I stopped uncovering scams. Why? It's a toxic environment that I was in at that time.
Right.
But if this is about remittances or any type of maybe investment or savings scam, the easiest way to spot a scam, number one, if it's too good to be true, right?
Yep.
It's totally unbelievable. Like it's so easy. Like there some scams happening right now targeting overseas Filipinos here is what they call loan scams. Like they allow you to borrow money without any requirements of your salary certificates, or you just need to send your passport and other IDs, and then they can allow you to borrow money.
Right.
The thing here is, let's say if I borrow 10,000 dirhams, okay, the fee here is 2,000 dirhams. So send us 2,000 dirhams, and we'll give you the 10,000.
Yeah, that's not going to happen.
That's not But here's the thing: a lot of people fall for that. And what those people do is they borrow money from friends. They probably take a loan, a micro loan from the bank or what. But in most cases, they just borrow money from friends.
Yeah.
And they send the money, and then the person on the other side say, hey, the money that you sent didn't reach us. And then send us another 2,000 until they realize, hey, I've fallen for a scam already.
Yeah. Okay.
It happened to one of my clients. Her nanny actually fell for the scam. And unfortunately, we were not able to recover the money anymore. Because,
That's a shame.
it does happen. So the thing here is, if it's anything, if it's really totally unbelievable, it's not something that's happening on a regular basis, then you really have to have this. It is a red flag in my case.
Okay.
In my view.
So I mean that, and it's very hard to give better advice than that, I think, isn't it? It's just, if it seems too good to be true, it probably is too good to be true.
Yeah, it is probably.
All right, so don't jump in. Here's another question for you: is there a better financial strategy for holiday giving? We're in the festive period now. It's December, although that begins in August in the Philippines, as we pointed out. Should I send a single large lump sum right now, or is it smarter to send smaller weekly amounts leading up to the holiday to average out the exchange rate and avoid a bad one-day rate?
Yeah, well, it's really hard to know when the rates will really go up or down. Yeah. What I always ask clients to do is do it in a way that is aligned to your goals and to what you really want to achieve. Let's say, okay, we need the money at this time. And if you have the money now, then at least park it in a high-yield savings account for now, so that it doesn't, it's still, the purchasing power is still sustained. And in terms of spending it, then really separate it versus your other goals. If it's meant for spending during the holiday, then just use it for the holidays and don't overspend on it. Because this is what my wife and I do. We have a budget or a set limit of spending for every December.
Right.
So we start our budgeting per se from January, so that it doesn't, we don't overspend by December.
Okay.
So it's like we divide it by 12, and that's how much we save every month. And then we get to spend everything on December.
You're kind of back to your envelope theory.
Yeah, it goes back there. But nowadays, the good thing is, let's say I'm using Emirates NBD Live. They have this, what they call goal accounts. And then you can automate those goals into whatever amount you want and however you want to save for a certain goal. Let's say if you want to save X amount every day, every week, or every month, it's possible. It will be automatically deducted from your specific salary account. And then by the time that you need the money, you have the money. And there's no guilt of spending because you've allotted for it earlier this year. So it is one of the helpful ways on how you can spend without guilt.
Good point. Okay, so you've sent some money back. On the receiving end, let's look at the other side, the family back at home, and look at some of the, I don't know, are there common spending patterns for families abroad during the holidays? Is there a particular, way that people use the money that they get sent?
Usually it's really about festivities. They would buy a lot of stuff on the gift part and on the food part.
Sure.
And that usually is where most of the expenses are. Others would, maybe they would buy some decorations if they need to replace their decorations. But in most cases, it's really on the food and on the gifting part. And sometimes the pressure is high for someone to send the money, because us here, we're working on higher incomes in terms of currencies, right? So the pressure to send money is really high, and you might get asked to send more money than how much we sent last year.
Yeah, I mean, you get kind of you get lulled into this sense, I suppose, if you're being sent money, that more money could be sent. And,
yes.
And there's that feeling of, well, there's plenty more where that came from.
And the challenge with the receiving country is, in most cases, inflation there is high.
Okay.
So expenses tends to become higher than last year, right? So you are really obliged to send money back home so that they'd be able to at least enjoy, quote unquote.
And the purchasing power is reduced, obviously,
Yes,
over time.
obviously,
as well.
over time.
Yeah, okay.
So that is the thing. So it's so important for us to plan really well and set the right expectations whenever holiday season comes. Because the usual trend is, since this is the season for giving, for family to gather around, some people may not have that enough cash to sustain that kind of lifestyle or culture, so they tend to borrow money. And then when January comes, they start to repay those debts, those holiday debts, as we call it.
Yeah.
And the cycle goes on.
Yeah.
Some may not, some would say, hey, this is for the memories, right? We only get to spend maybe once a year. So it's okay to borrow money.
Well,
But again, it's also, what about the memories, Jay? That's what my clients always tell me. What about the memories that we're building with this gathering? Yeah, I get that. I'm not saying you don't spend money on your family or enjoy your festivities. What I'm saying is for you to spend responsibly and not be in debt. Okay? Because once the time comes that you are about to pay your debts again, that's going to be part of your memories again. And I'm not sure if it's going to destroy the happy memories you've built during the holiday season.
Do you know what? That's a really good way of putting it. It
Right?
is. I mean, it goes both ways, doesn't it?
It does.
Financial mistakes from the person remitting the money has to be responsible, but it goes the other way as well. People receiving the money have
Agree.
to be responsible.
And this is why I tell clients to teach your family members back home how to not just spend money, but also at least keep it in the right way or multiply it if possible. There's a saying that you teach a man to fish. You give a man a fish, you feed him for a day. You teach a man how to fish, you feed him for a lifetime, right?
Yeah.
So once we teach those family members of how they can fish on their own, then at least you wouldn't be burdened every month to send. Because again, you also have your own goals for yourself, for your family, not just for your other relatives back home or friends back home, right? And if you do not put this limit of helping and being overly generous, you tend to, the days that, the opportunities you had working in the UAE would be lost because you've spent it all, or you gave everything away, and you're not able to build a healthy retirement fund for your education fund for your son or child.
All right then. So what kinds of mistakes do people make when they receive remittances? Because with so much money going away, not all of it's being used responsibly.
True.
That's reasonable to say.
That is the number one mistake.
Really?
Irresponsible spending.
Okay.
Because here's the thing. If a person doesn't really work for the money, would you really value that? Or would you just wait for another month that my son would send me money again? It is different. If you worked hard for the money, you definitely do your best to make the most out of it. But if someone just receives it, maybe it's similar to winning the lotto, right?
It's an interesting thing.
It is.
Earned money is kind of sweeter.
Yeah.
I don't know if that's the right way to put it, but when you've earned something and you feel like you really deserve it, rather than being gifted money, it's a different feeling.
It is. If it's, I forgot the term around it, but there's this thing that if you received money from your annual salary as a bonus,
Right.
you'd spend it first versus the money that you save for the entire year. Why? Because you will think that the money that you've earned from your bonus is easy money. And it's easy to spend as well. Versus money that you've worked hard for the entire year. You'd see the value in it. Because you know that you worked, the trade-off with that is the time that you spent working to earn the money versus just receiving it, falling it from the sky, right? So it is totally a different vibe. So that is why it's a hard conversation with family members whenever I tell clients that you really have to have this uncomfortable conversation now, uncomfortable and awkward conversation now, than to suffer in regret in the future. Because you know that if this cycle keeps happening, you'd end up broke and unhappy. And no one's gonna save you. Look, bro, money has one language that it understands. You know what? save me now and I'll save you tomorrow.
Yeah, okay. No, I like it. You're coming out with the epithets today. I'm enjoying it. If you have a question for Jay, Jay Tolentino is here. He is a financial coach. He's a financial expert. You can contact us, info@mira.fm, or via the WhatsApp, which is, I sound like a really old guy, via WhatsApp, just WhatsApp, no definite article. WhatsApp.mira.fm. If it's on your laptop, your computer, that should bring up the dialog box. Chris texts through. This is an email, I think. Sorry for this super specific question, but I'm sending a large amount this month. But the exchange rate is volatile. Is it generally better to send money? This is interesting, actually. Midweek, Tuesday, Wednesday, or mid-month around the 15th to avoid the worst rate dips caused by high demand during payday and weekend transfers. That's quite a smart
interesting.
strategy.
Well, because my rule in money is to never really predict the markets in terms of investing or saving. So I really don't know which one is the right answer there. It really depends on the timing, maybe. If you think that, although I've read some articles around that there's a time in the week or the month that it's best to send money. Maybe it depends on the trends, but I don't usually check the trends in terms of those things. But yeah, if you think that, if you predict that the currency will fall or rise in that certain month, then yeah, by all means do it.
By all means do it, but don't be bound to it.
But don't be bound to it, yeah. And just take it with a grain of salt, maybe. I mean, don't just... This isn't financial advice.
No, but I mean, if somebody has a preference for doing something a certain way, then, I mean, that's fine. But, you know, the trick, surely the trick is just to, look around, do your research.
Yeah.
Because there's no substitute for research.
There's no substitute for research.
And it doesn't take much time to Google and just Google a few different, exchange houses, rates, whatever it might be. I suppose.
Yeah, it's similar. It is the thing. You really have to do the research so that you would know if... but I'm not sure if it's a significant amount or just a minuscule. I'm not sure. Is it worth your time?
Chris says it's a large amount this month. Exchange rates are volatile. They're always as volatile. It depends on. I don't know which currency this is. But is it better to send midweek or mid-month? Yeah,
because I've also read an article that October of this year, the exchange rate for I think the peso is good. It's much higher because the Philippine peso is close to $60 per peso already. So it's really bad for our currency. And UAE dirham and USD is pegged to 1 to 1, right? So it's a similar scenario for that.
Okay.
And I think even the rupees are falling behind. I think this year. So, but it's something that they really have to always check. If it's something that's important to them, if they want to make the most out of the money that they're sending, check the trends.
But I mean, if you need to send money and people need money, then whatever it is, you have to do it.
True.
That's the other side of it. Here's a message from Sheena. Once the money arrives, my family sometimes holds on to the foreign currency like US dollars or dirhams, hoping the local rate will worsen. Is this a smart hedge, or should a recipient always immediately convert the foreign currency to local funds to prevent further exchange rate losses and manage their budget?
That depends on how you use it. It sounds like the liquidity requirement is high. Liquidity means they need cash immediately, right? So if it's meant for day-to-day spending, like groceries, paying rent, then you really have to convert it immediately. But if the goal is for you to, let's say, sell the currency at a much higher price in the future, because you're trying to time the market there, in expect of maybe a little gain in the future if the currency falls.
It always strikes me that if you do this regularly and you're sending money on a monthly basis or a quarterly basis, whatever it is, and you're trying to hedge all the time, you're going to have times where 1 month or 1 quarter, yes, thumbs up, and then another month and another quarter, thumbs down. It's not going to work in your favor. Timing the market is
I'm not a fan of timing the market in any type of, be it investment or currencies or what. Because here's the thing, I'd rather spend my time honing my skill set, because I'll make more money doing that.
Okay.
Than me doing all the research every day, trying to say, hey, is the market gonna fall this season, next month? What if I spent 15 or 60 minutes of my day trying to be better than yesterday? I'll definitely make more money. That's a fact.
You're really talking the coaching language now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I do say this to my clients, like, because I have clients, like, they would spend the entire week maybe looking for the next bank that would offer the highest savings yield.
Right.
And I tell them, instead of you wasting your time doing that, spend it back to yourself, because you are your best investment. You're probably gonna make what, 1 or 2% higher, but if you invest back to yourself, you can probably double what you're earning. Or maybe it's too good to be true as well, but definitely the investment in knowledge pays the best interest.
All right.
That has worked a lot.
The investment in knowledge pays the best interest.
Yeah, that's
I like that one as well.
it's Benjamin Franklin, I think.
Sounds good. I need to send $5,000 for my family. I'm worried about the rate dropping on the day I transfer. So here's the question. Is it financially safer to split the amount into 3 transfers over 2 weeks to average out the volatility? Or should I go with one lump sum and just accept the rate on that single day?
It depends again on when do they need the money. If they need the money now, regardless of how much the rate is, you have to send it.
Yeah.
So let's say if it's an emergency, let's say it's a family medical emergency, you say to your father, hey, you take your operation next week because I think the market would crash next week. So I might be able to send more. But yeah, there's no right or wrong answer there. It really depends on.
No, there isn't. Plus, you may have fees for sending something twice. So,
or let's say for some of the Filipinos, what they're doing is, let's say they're gonna send a huge amount of money.
Right.
Right now, I'll be using the same app, and then instead of me doing it in one go, I'll chunk it into maybe 2 or 3 because the spread for smaller amounts using the app that I was using is much lower versus if I send it in bulk. So you really have to check with the provider that you're using as well. So how much do they charge on the spread? Because usually if it's with a bank, the higher the amount, the tighter the spread, meaning better rates.
Yeah, absolutely.
Versus using a remittance app and sending a huge chunk of money.
Okay, then. So there, again, we're kind of back to research.
Do your research.
Yeah. If my bank offers a 0-fee transfer, am I actually saving money, or are they hiding the cost in less than favorable exchange rates? How do I quickly check the real cost?
It's a simple Google search, like how much is the exchange rate now, and then compare to what your bank is doing.
Yeah.
And then that's how you're gonna see it. Yeah.
All right then. That's pretty simple, pretty straightforward answer. So many holiday sales. You mentioned this just now: Yellow Friday, White Friday, Black Friday, Monday, Friday to I don't know, whatever they're called. Loads and loads of promos. Some of them are still on actually today as well. But how can you avoid overspending and that kind of dreaded, January financial hangover, as you like?
Yeah, good question. Overspending is a common thing. I think it's part of our culture, I think. So overspending...
It's part of everybody's culture.
Yeah,
it doesn't matter where you're from.
Yeah, overspending happens when you're no longer aligned with your core values. Because I always tell this to my clients, well, what are your core values? What are the things that are truly important to you? Are you buying this thing because it adds value to you or because you're trying to impress other people? Because in most cases, you probably are, right? I'm not saying that I am what they call this. I'm not prone to this. I can also tend to spend on things because of other people, maybe because of my wife or my son or my friends, right? But I make sure that whenever I buy stuff, especially if it's something that is important, I make sure that is it something that I really need, number one. Number two, is it of high quality? Like I'd rather pay for a much higher price for a product that would last for a lifetime at least. And then third is it below market value? So, or is it on sale? So now a lot of things are on sale. And number four is, can I pay it in cash?
Right.
That's one of the important things.
You don't have a credit card at all,
I
do
don't
you?
have a credit card at all.
And that's
Never
a
had.
conscious decision?
It's a conscious decision.
Okay, so you've looked at them and
Yeah.
thought, should I get one?
You know, I was in Ibn Battuta Saturday or Sunday. Sunday, I had a family lunch. And I was in this store, and there's this sales lady trying to offer me a credit card. And then she said, "Hey, sir, we have this free for life offer." And I said, "I don't have any credit card." And she said, so I said, "I'm sorry, I'm not interested." And then she said, "Oh, you already have so many credit cards, sir?" And I'm not sure if I'll be offended or what. What I want to say. But if I tell her, no, I only pay in cash, I might sound rude. So I just said, no, I just don't use credit card. But
Really?
in all honesty, because of the same thing that we've discussed earlier, if I know if I'd be given a credit card, I might have the risk of splurging, because again, money is behavioral. And if I don't see my money, I tend to easily spend it.
Okay.
So it really depends. So money, a credit card is not good or bad. It really depends on the person who's using it. So
I think for a lot of people, it depends if you've learned the lesson of credit cards. I mean, I learned the lesson the hard way by, I withdrew some cash, and that means the exchange rate is different, the fees are different, and I built up an amount, and it took me a long time to pay it off. That's a long time ago, many years ago, and I haven't done that since. So I learned that lesson. So I look at them now, and I think, well, look, as long as you know, if you want one, get one. And use it sensibly. If you don't want one, don't get one. It's the choice. It's got nothing to do with me. But I don't see credit cards per se as a bad thing. It's just it's bad.
It's a tool.
management.
It is a tool. And the problem here is not the tool. It's the one who's using it. So if we can't behave rationally when we have that tool, then might as well not use it. The reason why I don't have any credit cards is because I'm scared of debt, any type of debt. It feels that if I'm in debt, if I'm indebted with someone, with an institution, with a person, I feel like I'm a slave. I don't have freedom. Freedom of mind, freedom of thinking, freedom of relationships, freedom of choice. I feel that I am trapped. And I felt this 10 years ago when I had to borrow money from a loan shark just for the medical surgery of my father's second open heart surgery. And me and my brothers were in debt for 4 years. And I never wanted to be in that situation again. It's because of financial planning wasn't taught in schools. Nobody understood how insurance works in our family.
Right.
Nobody got to save. So who's going to carry the burden? It's the sons, the children, right? And that was my wake-up call. I realized that if ever I had to start my own family and never get to plan for my own finances, and I might pass this burden to them.
Right.
And I wouldn't want to pass on my debts as well, or any other bad habits on money that I've accumulated all throughout my lifetime.
Okay.
By the way, I want to add more on the list that I was telling you earlier. So pay it in cash, right? Number 4. So number 5 is to understand the opportunity cost, the trade-off. Like, okay, it's fun to buy the latest gadget now, but at what expense? If you have a long-term goal, let's say you really want to retire before 60, and you know that, let's say you need $1 million for it, buying $1,000 worth of gadget would mean lesser money for you in the future. So always understand the trade-off. And in most cases, if you know that the thing that you're buying won't help you generate more money, at least, or won't improve your relationships, or won't save you more time, in my view, it's a waste of money. It has to always have this ROI, return on investment per se.
Yeah, okay. Okay, so don't waste money, is what you're saying.
Yeah.
All right, let's go to the questions. If you have a question for Jay, you're very welcome to text us on info@mira.fm or WhatsApp us if you would like to as well. 522 789 567 is the number, or just whatsapp.mira.fm. Let's just see. Leo, I want to send more for Christmas, for the festive period, but not run out of savings. What simple rule, like a percentage of my bonus, enjoy that, Leo, should I use to decide my maximum holiday remittance?
It depends again on the goals and on the how much do you really want to spend on that month.
Okay.
So if you don't want your savings to be affected by your holiday spending, then have a separate fund intentionally meant for spending during the holiday, so that there's no guilt of spending. It's similar to doing your travels, like make sure you have your set spending limit. I don't want to say budget because it sounds restrictive. I always tell clients to have an intentional spending plan because we love to spend, definitely, right? The only question there is, are we intentional with the way we spend, or are we unconscious? Because if we are the latter, the unconscious spender, then we'd always feel miserable. But if we are intentional spenders, then we lead to live a happy life.
There's the other thing here, Jay, as well. That your money is there. I mean, as much as you need to be responsible, you need to think about retirement. You need to think about medical possibilities. Yes. Hopefully that doesn't happen. But you need to enjoy it as well.
You need to enjoy it. Now the question there is, how do you define enjoyment? Because in most cases, we put a price tag on enjoyment. The higher the price, the more fun it might bring.
Very often, yeah.
Very, very often, right?
Yeah.
But as I grew older, I tend to realize that it is how you really see things. It's really about your perspective. Whenever in my 20s, whenever I celebrate my birthdays, there will always be a lot of spending on my side. When I turned 30, I just learned and appreciate learning so much in terms of personal development and personal growth. So I think when I turned 30, I spent 50 dirhams on a book. I think it was a book about love language by Gary Chapman. Love language for men.
Yeah. You really pushed the boat out there.
I'm sorry.
50 dirhams on a book, didn't you?
The 5 love languages. Yeah, I've read that.
But if that meant something to you, and you got something from that,
that's true. That's why, again, I'll go back to my first point whenever I start my coaching with clients. What is the definition of success to you?
Okay.
And then get clear around that. Because that's how you're going to spend your money. If your definition of success or enjoyment or fulfillment is always based on other people's definition, you'll always be sad or lonely because you're trying to live a life that is meant for other people.
Yeah.
And that is how you really spend and enjoy your money. I have a friend who just bought a Mustang, I think 3 months ago. And I said, "Wow, that's a good car." And I said, "Well, if it makes you happy, if it aligns to your definition of happiness and success, by all means, spend it, man." And then, but again, he's still responsible because he still has an investment or some properties here and also in the Philippines.
Okay.
So I cannot judge a person by the way they spend. The only question I ask them is does that align with your definition of success? If yes, then go for it. By all means, spend it. Yeah. Ramit Sethi has this, what he call a rich life. You need to define what your rich life is. Because otherwise, other people will define it for you and you'll end up being a happy and miserable person.
Okay. Hello, Tim and Jay. This is Chini, I think it's how you pronounce it. Share some holiday hacks. Are there bank promos or money app promos that we should get involved in? We should anticipate, things like cashback and rewards. What do you think of those kinds of things?
Well, cashback and rewards are for credit cards, so I'm not a huge fan of credit cards again, right? Because I don't have credit cards. But, well, here's the thing. My wife has a credit card, okay, to be fair. And we use that for Carrefour because of the grocery stuff. And in my view, it is a helpful tool for us because we get extra groceries, right?
I was going to say to you, how do you book flights to go home? Is that your wife's credit card that does that?
Yeah, but we already saved up for it.
No, that's fine. But would you use a card to do that?
We would use a card because we always pay our cards in full. So yeah, we always use credit cards for that.
You are very sensible. I'm impressed. But I talked to lots of financial advisors and have done, and we've had quite a few people in the last month, 2 months, and it is very much about that kind of idea of pay the cards in full at the end of the month. Don't run balances, etc. Yeah.
But I understand that there are some great perks in using credit cards. Like it protects you from fraud, right? It's much easier than using debit cards.
Can be. Sure.
But again, I have spending limits on my expense account. So if I spend money on those stuff, then go by all means try to splurge it. But yeah, and I had this one instance, I think 2 weeks ago. I bought an online course using my business debit card, and I was charged incorrectly.
Right.
So I called the bank, and then they said, well, we can reverse this. But again, I called the vendor, and they were happy to give me the refund.
Gotcha.
But either way, even if I used my business card's debit card, I would still be refunded. So I guess it really depends on on the bank. Yeah.
Okay. Final question for you. This is Liesel texting. Please lighten up my mood.
What?
Thanks, Liesel. I'm thinking of not sending anything to my family because I don't want to welcome 2026 without savings, but I run the risk of making my family angry. Any words of encouragement?
Yeah, that is a common thing.
That is a
common
difficult
thing.
one.
Well, again, you really have to have that tough conversation. Explain the reason behind it,
Right.
why you're not sending money this year, or maybe you may want to lower the amount that you'll be sending if you want to prioritize saving in the future. And I tell this to my clients, like, be truly honest with your family. Like, this is how much I make. This is where I live. If you might see me posting pictures on social media, that's just during my day off. But this is where I live. You know, when I showed to my parents where the tiny one-bedroom, I was sharing it with 4 people, they couldn't believe it. Because my room in the Philippines was so much bigger than where I was living. And I told them, this is reality. This is what many Filipinos' life is in Dubai. It's not the flashy things that you see online. And they get to understand it.
Mira Business FM, Dubai's home of business radio.
It's Mira Business FM, as you heard. Do you know, I've got one final question for you, Jay. Just before we finish, what's your message to expats and their families about using holiday remittance money wisely?
Yeah, well, just be intentional with your money. Be intentional. Go back to your financial why. Why did you come here in the first place? Why are you working here in the UAE, right? What is the end game? And again, if you are intentional to your finances, you tend to lead a more happy life in the future. That is what I can say.
Okay, that's good advice. I think Jay Tolentino is a financial coach. He's an expert. Appreciate you being here this morning. Thank you.
appreciate it.
And have a very happy festive season as well, Jay.
You too, man.
Thank you.
Thanks,
It's
Tim.
Mira Business FM.